Michigan, fresh off a 30-point win against Pitt. Sorry, Tristan Freeman. Pitt's horrible. They might be the worst Division I high major team in the country. Cart. Michigan, I don't know. Are they good or are they bad? I can't tell yet. I think they're okay. We talked about them after the Amani experience, but I'm still, I don't know what to make of this team. What do you make of this team?
Uh, I I think you have two good play. You have one All-American, you got one NBA player in Jet Howard, and then after that, the drop off is huge.
I think you got to put some respect on Kobe and put him in a third category there.
See, I would honestly put Terrence Williams before I put Kobe.
Okay. I don't mean to do this because I hate when people do this in general, but I'm going to do it and be honest because you've had a lot going on. You're doing the Spartan Dog show. You're doing sleeper shows whenever I ask you. You got your own top 10 wins to watch right now. How much Michigan game have you actually watched?
I watched the first half of the Pitt game.
Like in real time, not like Ball is Life highlights?
No, real time.
Okay. Then if that's true, I don't know how you don't include Kobe in that category to me.
Well, what about Terrence Williams versus Eastern? Because in that game, Terrence was big.
Terrence is solid. Terrence is solid. He's in a different role. He can play 30 minutes in the garbage man 4 spot and have games where he puts up 17 and 10. And then he'll have games where he puts up 2 and 2. I'm not worried about Terrence Williams, but he also doesn't warrant inclusion in the what does Michigan have category, right?
Who has a lower floor between Terrence Williams and Kobe Buffkin?
I think they're pretty close. My point is you don't have to worry about either, but Kobe actually is becoming a block. Like Kobe's a playmaker for this team. He's going to play 32 to 35 minutes right now. And that doesn't mean he's going to shoot 40% from 3 and score 12 points a game. He might not. His shot is not going in the way we think it is, but he's being really effective despite the shot not going in, which is massive. Like Michigan's point guard issues have been horrendous, and we'll talk about that. And they're still 3-0 and they're winning comfortably. And last night they were going to set a record for lowest turnover rate in the last 10 years of Michigan basketball because Kobe Buffkin has been so good with the ball. Like they can run him.
Or it's because playing the Pitt Panthers is like playing cones.
Also maybe that, but I'm just saying through 3 games, like Kobe is a guy, he's not just on the court. He's a guy you're drawing offense through almost every possession at this point. And I think that matters. Whether that turns into like numbers, I don't know. But that's like preseason, you know where I was at on Kobe. I was like, he might be on the floor, but he's not going to be a driver. He's a driver right now. He might be the driver of this team other than Hunter Dickinson, which is interesting.
More of a driver than Jet?
Yeah, Jet's not. I mean, Jet's a pure scorer. He's
so you mean driving as far as like playmaking for others?
And just like who has the ball? Like if we're in a 1 possession game late right now, the ball's in Kobe Buffkin's hands.
Ooh, that's nasty.
I'm telling you, you're going to come around to him at some point right now.
You know what? When he plays somebody with a pulse, this Arizona State will actually be big for me personally.
I think Arizona State's almost as bad as Pitt, honestly.
Really?
I think they're really, really
bad. It's pretty bad, but Arizona State's pretty bad too.
I was worried about VCU because I wanted to see what the pressure defense would do to Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could have cost him some I like Arizona State's a matador defense and a sloppy offense. I am worried Frankie Collins might do his best Amani impersonation. And Frankie, I will say this on record, Frankie Collins is going to prove that Michigan never should have let Frankie Collins go. He's the best point guard in this game. And I expect him to take Jalen Llewellyn's lunch. I expect him to.
Is he better than your boy?
Right now, yes.
He's better than 4-2 Dug?
Right now, yes. Long term, no, he will not be. Although Dug, can we talk about Dug last night? Did you see any of Dug's stuff last night?
Yeah, he's a guy that you notice is on the floor.
He had 8 assists in 20 minutes. He had 8 points.
Against Pitt.
Dude, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry to keep going there. I don't feel like you're watching these games at all. If that's like, and I get you're playing the opposite fan who's got to hate on dudes, but like
I'm not hating on. Okay,
if your actual analyzation of Dug McDaniel is, oh yeah, he's on the floor, then you have not watched Dug McDaniel. He could be the least just on the floor guy in the country.
Which one of these objects is Dug?
we get like, I don't even want to do this, man. How are we supposed to talk about basketball when that's all it comes down to every
I'm
single
sorry.
time?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had a win over Kentucky. Let me rock. All right.
It doesn't matter. If you had a loss over Kentucky,
Okay.
you still
Let
would
me
make
say this. Let me say
a
this.
Doug joke.
This team, from what I watched, like I said, most of the Eastern Michigan game, first half of the game against Pitt, Jalen Llewellyn actually might stink. And like actually might stink in the like Izzo might be the smartest coach on the face of the earth. He says it. Like transfer PGs need a year. And I don't know if Jalen Llewellyn's gonna get that year. Like Dug McDaniel's your guys' best point guard. I will say that. Is that
Okay.
good enough for you?
I guess. I guess. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty right. Llewellyn started last night's game, just absolutely Madi Sissokoing a right hand layup that was uncontested with nobody within 10 feet of him, and then he missed 2 threes. He he had 1 4-minute stretch. This is already how we have to analyze Jalen Llewellyn, which I despise. It's like when he has just an okay, even 4-minute stretch, we have to talk about it like he deserves flowers. And he had a layup that he like probed the defense for and made harder than it should have been, that went in, almost didn't, but it went in. And we have to talk about how that was his highlight of the year. And then he made an uncontested off the dribble elbow jumper shortly after that. Great job, Jalen. You're really coming along. Like, his impact's not there. And it is very much a case of like, okay, he's playing with the starters and he's not asked to do much. So he can just be out there. And the offense looks pretty good. Versus Dug comes in with the bench and Dug does everything and he stuffs the stat sheet and then he makes some mistakes. And they're just such different roles right now that it's almost impossible to compare who's better, because I have no idea what Dug would look like playing with the 4 starters. I have no clue. I think he'd be better.
On paper, from what I've seen, I think it'd be better than Llewellyn, like just as far as like the way the offense looks and the way the offense runs, and just aesthetically
His
more
reads
pleasing.
are better. His
Huh?
his reads are better. Like
Yes, they are. But
play.
at the same time, when you're trying to, I don't know, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Call it what you want. I Even though Jalen Well is struggling right now shooting the ball, I still think he's a better shooter than Dug at this point, which technically would fit better with Hunter, correct?
Um, Theoretically, here's my problem. I don't
Okay.
think he is, because the first step to being a good shooter, Cart, do you know
It's
what it
hitting
is?
shots.
Is shooting the ball. And people forget that, like it's one thing to, you can make some jumpers in an empty gym on the gun. It's one thing to do it in a game in Division I basketball at the University of Michigan or Michigan State, as we saw with Tyson Walker last year. And first of all, Jalen's numbers over his career are horrendous. I've said them on this very show before. I've said them in the Hoops forums about 35 times. He's not been a good shooter historically. His shot looks pretty. And he had one good year his junior year last season that everybody wants to use and say, oh, he turned a corner. He's a great shooter. Well, he hasn't made a shot from 3 in 8 attempts, I think, so far for Michigan. He's not attempting many. Like, he's turning down opportunities to attack and shot hunt. And Dug also is not making shots, but Dug is attempting them and they look okay. And if we're just playing eye test game, because that's what people want to do with Llewellyn, is say, oh, well, it looks okay, it'll start going in. Dug gets 2 to 3 off the dribble jumpers that are wide open every game. And it's not just because people are going way under and leaving him wide open. He's creating them, like he's creating the space. I love guys that can create space. So I like the deal on Dug in EYBL and before this was like, yeah, his shot's a question, but it oddly goes in and he takes a lot of tough ones. And I think Martelli said that in the offseason, like on the overseas trip. It was like, yeah, like we don't necessarily want Dug shooting that much, but it goes in. So we can't really tell him not to. It hasn't gone in yet, but from what I've seen, like from everything I've seen, Dug does everything better than Llewellyn. What are we doing? Like, the only thing Dug does worse than Llewellyn is play like he's on drugs for 10 minutes of a game, every game. And he didn't do that last night, which has me ecstatic. So as long as he just calms down a little, I think he's going to be the starter. I really, really do.
So you think like midseason, like Doug's going to be the starting point guard,
I
or
think
how long do you think it takes?
if Doug plays as in control, I don't even mean like 8 assists like he had last night, but if Doug just plays as in control as he did last night, and Llewellyn stays exactly where he's at, Doug's the starter within 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I think one thing that will bode well for you guys, as well, is that even though Doug is a freshman, he's an older freshman.
Yeah.
And while him being an older freshman, like for anyone who's followed him like throughout his whole like high school career, AAU career, like he's always been the like not necessarily the best player on the team, but he's always been the point guard, leader, ball in his hands, and winner at all levels. So it's the type of, and it might be a stretch, but there's certain freshmen that you would feel more comfortable, I think, putting into that situation, a freshman point guard. And if I had to like rank freshman point guards who I would trust the most, I think Doug would be up there from his body of work leading up to Michigan is kind of where I'm coming from. So, with more games under his belt, he'll probably improve much. But yeah, if Jalen Wellen continues to play the way he's playing, like I feel like Juwan will have no choice.
Yeah,
and last thing, and maybe who knows? Maybe Llewellyn's better off the bench.
Yeah, we don't know. I guess I'd just like to see what they look like. Because weirdly, if you put Llewellyn on the bench with talking Jace Howard and Joey Baker, who actually shot really well last night, but like you have to hunt shots if you're running the show with that unit. And that's part of why, like, I don't necessarily blame Doug for being a little erratic, because I think that's his role. That's what he's being asked to do when he's with that unit. So I'd like to see Llewellyn do that. Maybe if you forced Llewellyn to go be a playmaker every possession, maybe he looks better. I don't know. Maybe if you tell Doug to just be completely solid and be the 5th option, but play with our 4 best players, he looks great. I don't know. All I know is from the film and watching every second of this team, I think Doug is more capable infinitely in every single skill of the game of basketball. And it's not going to last forever. Like, are we really going to give Llewellyn 3 months just to hope when you've got this Doug kid for 4 years, hopefully, unless you run him off because you want another grad transfer, which they're going to need because they didn't get Collier. So,
by the way, for people who didn't know or are unaware, Michigan's 3-0. By the way, I feel like there's been, I don't know if that's been mentioned or not, but if you're just going off what we heard so far, you would think they're 1-2 or something.
3-0 and playing for a championship tonight, Cart.
Yeah, that's big.
Hang the banner, Legends champion.
I'm telling you right now, Frankie Collins, 25 plus, probably 27 shots, and they lose by 20.
He's going to do a Jalen Wilson then?
But Jalen Wilson won.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, the 25 points on 26 shots, I just associate that with National Player of the Year candidate Jalen Wilson. So,
former Michigan recruit Jalen Wilson.
Former. We got the John Beeline off last night watching, Brandon John, Zeb Jackson against Frankie Collins. That was good for my soul.
Brandon John stinks.
It was bad for my eyes, but it was good for my soul, Cart.
I need to go back to the text. I'm pretty sure you told me Zeb Jackson's got some Brandon Jennings in him.
I think so.
Yikes.
Well, I still I think if Zeb was a Beeline guy for 4 years, I have no idea what he ends up looking like. But you throw him bouncing around schools, and no offense to Juwan Howard's development of guards, but also offense to Juwan Howard's development of guards. Zeb never had a chance when he played for that staff and then was thrown to VCU.
I don't want to send you off on a tangent here, but question for you, or game per se, because you love games. Okay. And it's a game with one question. So I don't even know if it's a game. It is what it is, whatever. Right now, you get to pick a coach. He's going to coach you for the next 10 years.
Oh, God.
Are you picking Juwan or are you picking Beeline?
It starts with this roster.
You know what? Let's go back to
when he left.
Yes, when he left.
If it's from when he left, I'm picking Beeline. If you could have told me I get 10 more years of Beeline and there's never Juwan Howard, yeah, it's Beeline.
Okay, okay. You know what? Let's say right now then, because that was too easy of an answer. I want you to struggle a little bit.
I don't know, because the problem with Beeline is like when he takes over a program, it takes him 2-3 years to like get his kind of guys in. And no offense, like, because there's more talent in Michigan right now than there was when Beeline took over. But like, he's still like, I don't think Dug McDaniel's a Beeline guy. I don't think Kobe probably would work with Beeline. Terrence Williams would never see the floor. Like, it's just totally different styles and different guys. So it, to me, like, you'd be, I don't know, probably Juwan with where it's at, but like, am I happy with where the program's at right now? Kinda. I don't know. Like, I should be happier than I am, Cart, but I'm already like next year's point guard situation is hanging over my
Oh,
head.
come on, man. You're already stressing about next year's point guard situation?
Yeah, because what are they going to do? The only point guard on the roster next year is Doug, and they're going to go get someone to start over him.
You got a whole year to play.
They're not even recruiting other guards. Like they Xavier Bookered and went all in on Collier and didn't get him. So now what? Now I got to start scouting dudes from Cornell. Like, it hurts. And this defense is so bad, man. And I don't know.
You guys are bad defensively.
It's like watching an Iowa team that can't shoot at either guard spot.
That's disgusting.
That's how I feel. It feels like I'm watching Iowa, but without Jordan Bohannon and Joe Wieskamp. I have Jalen Llewellyn and Kobe Buffkin.
I would say I feel sorry for you, but I don't.
I know. I feel sorry for myself, though.
But you got Hunter Dickinson.
Undefeated.
Undefeated Hunter Dickinson. Playing for the ship tonight.
I'm such a bad fan. We'll see. You know, both these teams are going to split this year no matter what the records are, by the way, right? Like, no matter. Michigan could lose every game leading up to the Michigan State game. They're going to split this year.
Really? Because I feel like this year struck me as a year where one of us is going to go 2-0.
I think it's a split.
Okay.
Izzo will get one because he's Izzo no matter what, and Hunter will get one because he's Hunter no matter what. It is what it is.
That sucks. I kind of want to see a 2-0.
It's like when two unstoppable forces collide. What happens? They split. There you go. All right, Cart, can you say something nice about Michigan to end this?
I said you guys are 3-0.
Well, that's just a fact. Can you say an opinion that's nice about Michigan?
I will say I'm sorry for calling Jet a child actor. That man's a killer. That man's a bucket. That man is a bucket getter. And there's going to be many situations this year where y'all win basketball games because it's for the last 5-7 minutes of a game coming out of that media timeout, maybe at the under 8, and it's give the ball to Jet and go score that damn basketball, and he can do that. So that's nice to have. Combine that with Hunter. Okay. Now I'm going to say something negative. If Jalen Llewellyn actually was good, this team would be scary.
Yeah, if there was a good point guard on this roster, this team
would be scary because you'd have a big 3 basically.
But you know what's not scary, Cart? Having a mediocre point guard for the second year in a row.
Sorry.
It'll be
okay.
That's why. Hey, that's why I can't wait for 2023, 2024 Michigan Wolverines point guard AJ Hoggard. Come take the keys, my friend. Play for a coach that trusts you. Play for a coach that keeps you on the court at the end of games. It's your program now. Make it happen. Speak it into existence. And if Akins wants to take more long twos, he can come too. I'll take them both. Go ahead. You trading Akins for Buffkin right now, by the way?
No.
I'm not either. I'm not trading Buffkin for Akins. So
you're not?
No.
You're a bad GM.
Maybe.
Your fantasy basketball record shows that.
Okay. All right. I'll see you in East Lansing tomorrow.
All right. See ya.